Hello and welcome back to City Skylines with me, Neat, and you have joined me back in Carnopia, our pedestrianised city. In the last episode, my original goal was to put in a university, but we hit the challenge of having no money, basically. We were broke, and we needed to really work on just expanding our residential area and our income so that we could actually meet new milestones. So today's episode, I'm very much focused on trying to get enough money to actually build a university and to go from big town to our next milestone, which is great town. So I may skip around a little bit just to help I suppose time pass so that we can reach the goals that we want. But the first thing I want to do is just have a little look at what we are doing with our services to make sure we've got enough to supply the new development that we're going to end up putting in place. So currently our water and sewage is absolutely fine, but our electricity is right on the cusp, and I don't think it's going to take very much for it to cause a problem. Yeah, we did. I was just checking. We moved our sewage over to this little island, so this area is going to slowly fizzle out and there won't be any poop water in our farm fields. So what I want to do is just work on improving our, I suppose, electrical connections. I did contemplate spending some of our development points to maybe purchase like the geothermal plant, but I think we're going to save up for the solar power plant with the 4 development points. We've only got 2. And also we're broke, so we don't have the money for it. So what I'm just going to do is work on, first of all, our connections, because currently most of our energy is coming from these 6 turbines, and it's not going to be long before that cuts out and the whole city has power issues. So first of all, I'm literally just going to connect up a couple of these points. Oh, she says, putting it above ground like an idiot. Put it below ground, and that should just help with other connections into the city. And then I want to put another wind turbine over in this area because it's not a bad area to have wind turbines. In fact, we're going to do 2. We're going to again connect them up, connect them to there, and connect them to there. So that should have improved our electricity. Sorry, I've got a little frog in my throat. I've just had some dinner. So it's improved it just into the green. The problem with wind turbines is they're just, unless you've got loads of them, they're not the most efficient. Just looking at the differences in cost. So that's going to increase the power output in the daytime. That's generally increasing the power output. And that has a battery to store. So we're going to do that to that, and we're going to do that to that, and then we're going to leave well enough alone. So that means that we've now, we're comfortably in the green, but we're still not perfect, but we're saving up. So whilst everything else is, sorry, I thought I deleted some of my buildings then. Whilst I'm saving up income, what I want to do is start drawing out our access to our university. But first, I'm just going to quickly put down a couple of offices, because at the moment we don't have demand for anything other than low density residential, which isn't the be all end all, but it's not what we want. We want to slowly build up the medium and high density, or that's my goal anyway, is to kind of make the area more built up looking. And we also can't put in like the medium density commercial yet because we haven't reached Grand Town. But we're not far off. We are not far off reaching Grand Town. We have 3,000 points left to go. So my original plan was to use this road on either side to get up and over the motorway, and then I brought the road back like an idiot. So this road may completely go because we need it to go up and over somehow. Or under, I suppose, could be the other option, but I'm thinking up and over. So first of all, let's just unzone this area. Actually, we could have that. That's fine. And we're also going to, I suppose, unzone. It's a 4, isn't it? Yeah. And again, because everything's pedestrian, we don't really want all of that space. So we're going to go ahead and delete this road. And we're going to go ahead and change this one into here. That's going to be as good as I'm going to get it. I think I'm just going to struggle, and I might just change all of that anyway. So, without further ado, everybody, we want this road to now be able to go up. And it's just getting the right angle. I think we're going to struggle. That look too steep? I mean, I don't think it looks too bad. There's certain places that have way steeper roads in the real world. Oh, it's not going to let me anyway, because it's a bridge. In fact, can we do it as a bridge? Is that possible? Kind of is, but kind of isn't. Right, let's just leave well enough alone for a second. It's giving us some space to work on things. And then we'll kind of do the same. I wanted it to be the same width. So this one. Right, let's see, how does that look? Do they look alright? Apart from this one being a bit earlier on the... I love how the cars go there purely to park, idiots. Oh my god. Literally begging for it, literally. All just craving a go at the old thingamabob. Yeah, it's just looking at this space here. I think we do what we did on the other side. So we'll go from there down to there. That's going to look better. No parking there, please, idiots. And then what we can do is have a road, but it doesn't need to be a big one, coming off of there. Oh, old factory condos. We'll have a look at that in a moment. Yeah, we might as well have it pedestrianised because we don't want people to be... Oh, that doesn't look straight to me at all. Turn off snapping. We'll pop it back on. And I know it's going to be up against the road, but I'm thinking we don't necessarily want it to... It could be offices, it could be, you know, whatever we want it to be. And then we'll pop him back on and just do an extension one down here. Because technically he probably could go under there if he really wanted to. Same with you, just a little bit down and down. And then they can always do similar around there. So that is our kind of high density. Oh, let's not do such big though. We don't need it to look like that. What we want to do, I'm just having a little think. We've got all our medium density, we've got some offices, but we can't put the higher density stuff down yet. So because we can't put the higher density stuff down yet, we're literally just going to bung some normal offices in just to fill the space. Because again, we're just trying to bring in some income. And we've got issues with our lower rent housing, and it's probably either that we've got a wealthy, hang on, let's actually look at our, can we look at our population's wealth? We've got happiness, we've got population, we've got anything about their wealth? Citizen wealth, there we go. So most people are actually okay. There's a few sprinkles of people not doing well, but most of them are doing really well. So that's cracking. It's cracking. All right. Other than traffic, but you know, traffic is as traffic does. Can't be helped. We'll keep putting in some offices. So let's plan how our university element's going to go. So we've got 3 tiles left that we can use. I purchased all of these because my thought was to have the university here by these kind of castle-y buildings, and then we can connect up here and over here, and then eventually up to this one. So there'll be 3 connections. So now we just need to think about how we want to join the dots. I think for now we're going to prepare for everything to be... This will be a more built up area. As we go back into the mainland, I want that to be more built up. Oh, I love this place. It's looking so good. So if this is where our university is going to go, we want to kind of map out... How hilly is it? That's very hilly. Because that's exactly the map that I picked. And I don't want to mess with the terrain too much. I know I see a lot of people on YouTube just flattening the land and completely not respecting the land. And, you know, I think they probably have overdone it a little bit. The, the people that made the maps, I think they haven't made very many, like, easy starter maps where everything's flat. So, and I know developers do go in and flatten things to an extent, but you can't flatten everything all of the time. So anyway, I was thinking this is going to be a good-ish place to have our university, maybe even having it at the top of the hill and like having it as an advantage point might be quite cool. What's the wind like up here? Is this a good spot for wind power? So. This bit round here is better. So anyway, we want our university, and I kind of like the idea of having like that they can access the water for some kind of hobby or activity that people could go, you know, kayaking and outdoor water swimming and whatever. And then we've got these old buildings here that we plonked down and we've moved, these kind of ruins which look really cool. We've got, what is that? Let's have a look. We've got an old cemetery, we've got 2 castles, which is kind of what you'd expect on the top of a hill. So I want this to be like a touristic place, and then maybe we have the university here in the middle. And again, we want to kind of utilise some of the land. What's the university building? I can't even see that. Oh, I can see the size. So it would essentially be, that would be the front, like there. And then what would that look like in the distance? Maybe a bit more angled, like that way. So, if we're going to have him on the hill, he's going to go something like that. Oh, that's not quite right. It's not quite. We want it to be this way. So, if we go... And then we can build off of that. Now I know it seems a bit silly me doing this straight away, but I think for me at least it just helps me map out what's happening. And how many more have I got to do? Like 4 each way? Is that going to be enough? It'd be nice if we could get rid of there we go. So that just fits. 1 or 2 more will do. See how that goes. And then that gives us room at some point to go around the outside. In fact, we've almost got enough to put that down now, which is cracking. So the reason I'm looking and spending so much time is I want to connect things up. We'll ignore the traffic jam issues because that will just ease with time. Oh, woohoo! We've reached Great Town, which means we've got high density business. Woohoo! Does that mean we get high density offices as well, or just business? No, we need to reach a small city first. But I love that because that's kind of what I want for some of this space, because you can see there's so much gap, which in itself is not a problem, but it's okay if I could do paths through it, and that seems a bit more realistic. But like this one, these two in particular are fatter. This little shopping bit I quite like, as long as the buildings grow in enough to fill the space. And actually this bit's not too bad, looking a little bit officey. We'll see, we might mix that one up. But anyway, we have now got enough money to actually plonk our university down. So without further ado, we've got high crime. Let's just have a quick look at that then. Let's look at our police. Oh, we've got one diddly police station that's supplying everything, but not very well. And our average crime probability is 83%. What are you rogue people doing? Is that going to fix it? Let's have a look. So we've still got a huge amount of crime. And is that just supply and demand because we haven't got enough police stations? Whether or not we just plonk a small one, because you kind of would expect one near a university maybe, like a little police station. So maybe if we plop one on the main road or just off the main road here, would that be kind of believable? Let's have a little look. That's helped with the access. Look at all the red buildings. What are you doing? Bloody hell. We'll see how that does. If that reduces things down. That shouldn't be a problem. What are you all doing? They're reckless. Crazy kittens. Whether or not we end up needing to use development points to put in something for that, we'll find out. So what I want to do then is actually just go ahead and plot down our university and then go from there. So this is our university. For now, I'm going to deactivate it so we don't go broke, because as you can see, the land's immediately gone, we can't fit. It's got some extensions. It's got a library which kind of goes around the back. It's got an extension ring on the top, and then it's got this lovely kind of garden thing that could go at the back. So we do need to flatten the land around the back to some extent. So if we just enough, she says, I'm going to respect the typography, the land. I'm going to respect the land, and then she does that. But I'm doing that for the greater good because I do want the this I like the look of, and I think having that just out the back there, and you can have the library. Is that going to fit with the library? I don't know. This is where I waste money. Okay. So. Now it's interesting that that's like the front. I suppose that is the front, and then it's got some parking, it's got nice parks, it's got parking around the back, which makes you think that it needs roads around the back. So let's go ahead and we will do, actually we'll do normal roads. Is that going to work? It's a shame I popped that there now. No, I'm joking. It's not that. It's not the end of the world, but you kind of would imagine that people would drive up. Yeah, that's not too bad. I just don't like the way it's like got that weird circle stuff. And then we'll just do what we always do. Tree line it. Ta-da. So that looks okie dokie, not too shabby at least. Why aren't you doing it? Oh, the corners are a bit strange. Doing the smaller roads round the back, just because that's kind of really, people only be going back there for parking. And then we just want to look at how we're going to dawdle this, and I want to make this look like an actual kind of university. How are we going to dawdle it back? I'm kind of the mindset of we keep going straight. Yeah. We're just going to see how this ends up coming about. At some point, one of these roads has to make its way there. I think this is going to be easier to do. Bit of gridding off of here. Problem is it always hates me when I ask it to grid. Starts having a bloody hissy fit about it, and it's like, I'm doing it off that freaking road. Oh. See, it starts having a freaking meltdown about it. And it's like, what's the problem? Why are you having a... Anyway, we'll figure it out. So I don't want everything to be super gritty anyway. It's just how we get from there to there is another question. I think we want to build this bit out anyway to make it look, I suppose, more like a proper city, a proper university. So if we look at our development points, under university we've got the technical university, we've got the medical university, and I kind of want them all together. Now I can buy them all, but they're all obviously going to be expensive, so we've got to make space for the telescope. You've got the geological research centre, those sorts of things, which I have almost got enough points for, but not really. So like the technical university, look how huge that is, absolutely just ginormous, and we haven't really got the room for it. We've got the medical centre, which we have got the room for, but again, that's even more expensive. We need to think about where we want to place them, so we need to keep this area relatively free. I kind of want this middle bit to be a quad. How big I want the quad, I was thinking you wouldn't have a primary and secondary school generally near in the same site, you'd have it nearby, but you would have stuff like a library or a welfare office. So I'm just having a little look at our welfare office, wherever that is. I thought I bought the welfare office. No, I hadn't. Welfare office is only £110,000. Let's have a look. See, because that looks quite good, doesn't it? And then that could sit off of one of the sides, make that more believable. I know it's not actually part of the university, you know, but I want it to look like it's part of the university. And again, we'll turn it off for now. And the welfare office doesn't have any other upgrades. You've got... You probably would have like a little police station nearby to protect people. You would have some kind of train station nearby, and we would have some accommodation. What else have we got? We've got the post office, server farm, which we put down. We've got our parks. I think you would have a bit of a sports complex. I'm thinking of having the sports complex come off on the way to the water, maybe. I know you're not connected to anything at the moment. Just relax, darlings. Let's just check what our crime rate's dropped down. It's not as bad. Our crime rate's 64% now, everybody. What upgrades have we got for police? We've got the police headquarters, which has patrol cars and all of that mumbo jumbo. Something that we'll put in. But anyway, I think the welfare office you would kind of expect as a building, as part of the university. We're going to have to do things in stages because we're not exactly rich. But we'll go from here and then, yeah, down towards the riverside, and then maybe just have a place for a sports complex. It's a shame we don't have leisure centres, actually. You know, leisure centres are actually a really big thing. So you've got a whole campfire site, so maybe you could have people stay there overnight. That might be quite nice. What's that look like? That's not completely abnormal. You might expect that. What could we use as a leisure centre? What was there in parks? There was something, wasn't there? What was the thing with the swimming pool? Was that the larger parks? Let's look. Large sports parks. Spending all my money. I've only got 2 points left. But I just want this to look believable. Yeah, so you've got this community pool. What does that look like? Community pool. I think that would be believable. And then I want to use, because those parks, you kind of got... Is that going to look weird? So you've got like the ability that you could maybe walk around the lake at some point. And then you've got your community pool here. Again, we're going to turn you off just temporarily whilst you do anything. I think that would look quite nice. Have we got anything else? We've got a soccer field. We've got an American football field. We've got a skate park. what do you get under the tourist attractions? I'm nowhere near 8. It's just a shame there isn't anything that's like a leisure centre-y looking building. The old firehouse, the old police station, that could potentially pass as a bit of a leisure centre, couldn't it? Other than the way it looks. I don't know. What do you guys reckon could pass as a little leisure centre? Like the little medical centre? Because you might want a medical centre near the lake anyway. Could that pass as that could pass as a leisure centre? Other than the medical signs on it, you know, that could totally pass as a leisure centre. I just want this to kind of feel like a bit of a, yeah, a natural place for things to, I suppose, develop. So I probably will grid this bit off now, and then we can kind of find a way for this to connect to that bit of the city. So what I'd like to do is actually use kind of a little bit of the train maybe, and then we can almost bring him in like that. That's going to help with the connections for everything. And then people know as they're driving along that you go that way towards the university potentially. In fact, it might be nicer if that kind of has, what is it, that lane that curves off? Oh. Just to kind of control the traffic there a little bit so that everybody's not rushing off towards the university. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Now, parking is obviously going to be an issue here. We've got our sports complex, our medical centre. We can now actually turn them on, I think. Those few buildings, as long as it's not going to mess with our income too much. No, that's fine. We're still on a positive. Yeah, I think that's going to look more believable anyway. And then when we've got more money, we'll pop in, because we probably just need to watch our income a little bit. We'll see how things go. If we could pop in like the soccer field and that, it wouldn't just be on the side of the road, would it? You would have like a stadium type building, or that's what I would imagine anyway. The same with the American one. I don't know, it's not completely unbelievable, but you'd need some parking that kind of goes around it. So that looks quite good. It's not bad that it's next to a campsite, other than the campsiters might get a bit annoyed, but then they could camp there and then go and watch the football game, couldn't they? So that's not completely unbelievable. And then you'd have the soccer field like nearby, maybe behind it if we did there you go. And then we would have how does that look? I'm just thinking having maybe 2 soccer pitches would look a bit more realistic. Yeah, and then that one's got a whole pedestrianised kind of cut through walk along, so you've got like 2 training pitches and the American football stadium behind it. I think that looks quite good. A proper complex starting to build anyway. And then we need some parking and things like that. It's just whether we change it up a little bit. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by making things look pretty. If we go for an older tree line tool, sorry, having a moment. Oh, it always happens every so often, or at least on my one, I get these little glitches. But that will line up. And then he's already got some little ones anyway, but I think we could go with, again, line up. And again, we'll place one there, and then we'll do the road into it from behind. Oh, come off it. Come on, just join. Thank you. Thank you. Right, so those will grow in. Those teeny tiny ones. And part of the reason for doing that was just to see if I could shimmy him up one or two. So now they're level, and it gives them space down the middle for like maybe a pedestrian path. Which should be good, because we want them to link up, and then we'll put in some parking, and then we've also got the other sports things. So they're the big parks, but then we've got the tennis courts. I'm just thinking maybe having the tennis courts off one side, we need a place for parking for everything, or actually having the tennis courts right off the back with the pedestrian road might look quite good. So let's just have a little look. 1, 2. Don't think we need more than 4 necessarily, other than the way that's leveled next to each other. Oh, that's a bit awkward, isn't it? Why don't we then go for there? Hopefully I'm not losing too much money moving them. Probably am. It's really interesting how that's zoned with a small little... That's annoyed me, that has. How annoying! Or what we'll do instead... So I'm always a fan of connecting all the dots. Because I'm a strange lady. Likes to do weird things. 1, 2, 3. It's going to fit. It's going to fit. It's going to fit. 4. So now we've got 4 all in on that side, and we can put some tree lines to make that all look prettier. And it's really starting to look like a proper sports complex now. And maybe even we'll move that to make that look more like an actual leisure centre part of it. And then move the pool, I don't know, there. So it's a whole proper complex, and you've got the park on the other side. Then we've got outdoor gym. I'm not going to put that in there. Neither am I going to put in that. There we go. So we've got some basketball courts, and in fact, just to be symmetrical, we'll do extra basketball courts on one side, tennis courts on the other, football pitches, and everyone can walk around this bit. So what we actually need to do is move this one to the back here so that we can put in some parking. In fact, can you move along? There we go. Okie dokie. So, parking wise. Oh, it's not going to fit anyway. I had dreams of moving the parking there, but it's not going to work. We'll go back to where it was, because I quite liked where it sat actually, both of those. Right, so parking then. I made this all pedestrianised to make life easier, and instead I've made it trickier because now nobody can get anywhere to park. What we could do, because it's a whole complex, what's going to be easier? It's just the parking won't fit in those bits unless we push everything back and have to move everything. Yeah, meh. No, I can't be arsed with that. Let's see, how big is the parking? Quite big. does that fit? So that fits in quite nicely actually. Yeah, so it's not disturbing anything. And it might supply the whole lot, it might not. We could probably get away with putting something at the back there. I'll just have to purchase that other tile. There we go. There we go. So we've got parking at either end to supply everything, and I think that looks quite good, if I do say so myself. And now we are still growing income despite just putting in a bucket load of, yeah, a huge complex for everybody. Now we need to do what we always do and line the whole area. And the same here, and the same there. Otherwise we get some cheaters trying to park. Trying to park everywhere. Naughty buggers. But I think that looks quite cool. We've got 2 football pitches, American soccer pitch, American football pitch, 2 normal football pitches or soccer, outdoor pool, medical centre, which I'm kind of ignoring and making it into a leisure centre because the fact that they don't have them is just strange to me. Yeah, I think that all looks pretty good. Just going to finish off the path. And we will look at decorating that in the future once we've just figured out what we're doing with the rest of our city. So we now have more money. I am going to actually open up the university just to see what that does to our income. And currently we're still okay, just about okay. We actually have 19 students already, which is quite impressive. Let's just have a little look at what parks can go in here, if at all. We've got the large plaza, which really probably is the only useful one. And whether he can just fit completely opposite, I think that's probably not a bad idea. Yeah, that looks quite good. And then we can do some manual parks. The problem is the colour of the grass is different, and that does annoy me. Whenever the colour of grass, it doesn't quite match up. I know there's the developer mode, but I'm not quite that savvy. So, with the university, we've obviously got other university buildings, but I'm just very aware that if I start plocking all that down, we'll probably be broke. So for now, I'm going to kind of leave the space around here because we're going to plop more university buildings in, but we want a place for the students to live. And quite often, or at least in England, we have students can live. Oh, we've got high rent as an issue. Oh dear. Let's have a little look at that then. Let's look at our taxation. Let's drop that down and make people happy. Has that made everybody happy? Got a couple of buildings that have got abandoned. No idea why, but well, I probably do know why. It's probably because I've made the rent really high. How is our crime actually? Let's have a look. Our crime has dropped down to 40%, so we are swiftly dealing with the issue. So yeah, I was going to say, you want people to be able to live near the university. So what I'm thinking is popping like a little bit of a student accommodation off back this way. And again, I'm going to do a fairly main road again, because I am imagining this is going to be a big university complex. And again, we're going to kind of follow the train a little bit, and maybe almost have like a little student-y hub. So we'll do smaller roads coming off. Oh, not pedestrian. I mean, students probably would. Yeah, why not pedestrian, actually? It's just how do we then marry all of this up? I think if we go to like... Doesn't look too shabby, does it? Not perfect, but it doesn't look awful. And then we can do some walkways down. So this could be a bit of a main roady area, but a bit more built up. Don't know if I want really big buildings or some smaller ones, so we'll just see how that all grows in. Do the same along this side. We'll probably put some paths in to connect to the sports complex. And all these buildings were dying to get built, weren't they? They literally jumped at the opportunity. So it's not too far away from the university. And generally, or at least the university I went to, it was inside a city. So you literally walk down the road and it was the high street. Like a mini high street anyway, which I think looks quite good. And again, we're going to do our fun little grassing everything up. And then we want to put in some housing. Now, I suppose the debate is there's normally like a mixture of high density buildings, medium density buildings. I think we'll go for medium density just in this bit, but maybe have a couple of like tower blocks, which you kind of would expect. So just off of that one, pop those in and just see how that grows in. We've got high density demand. Oh, I like those shops. That's a good mix, isn't it? That's a good mix of shops. And apparently they want more. More. And this is great commercial suitability, apparently. In fact, we could do a mixture, a combination of EU and whether or not we do the same here. So just being able to pop a few little shops in. Now, funny enough, we actually don't have a fire station in this area, do we? So whether or not we could creep one in, because you probably would imagine having one near a campsite. In fact, could we move you along and move you next door? I can. There we go. That looks better. So that's going to supply that whole area. That's starting to look quite nice, isn't it? And then we want a couple of taller buildings coming in as well for the people that can't necessarily afford the same luxuries as some of the other students. That. So now what do we do here? Do we keep that kind of EU mix? I mean, let's have a little look at whether this would grow in. It is going to grow in. Nice. And then we've got some low rent housing. See what grows in. I don't want it to look too different, but to me, having all the spaces, I mean, the university buildings are kind of like, at least in England, you've got kind of like little complexes of university buildings, and then you'll have like and that'll be for like the first years, they kind of have halls, and then you would have people just renting local houses, so like quite often terraced houses, which we could end up doing terraced houses coming off towards the farmland, you know, on the edge of the farm would look quite accurate, I think. So we're going to let that grow in and see how that does, and that should all help with our income. Our population's now happy, our crime is now -7, so it's making its way down. Our mail service is our major issue now, and our crime has dropped down to 37% in counting. And we don't yet have a police station in this area, do we? Not yet. So it's where do we plop our police station, really? Somewhere between here and the university would make sense. And actually we could almost have it as, like, imagine it as like the gatekeeper's house, you know? Might look quite good. And then we could put another commercial building next to it. So So a couple of taller buildings have managed to grow in, and they look all right. They don't look completely abnormal there, do they? So let's continue with the trend of popping in. Let's do that. Oh, bollocks. Thank you. So we want some low rent, and then we want some high density. Oh, and then we'll do high density, low rent, high density, and just be a bit selective with it, I think. Maybe do a bigger one. And again, just see how that looks. Oh, I quite like that street, the street of EU mixed. Whether or not that goes with the one before it, I don't know. What we could do is zone in the mixed. Oh, I was going to say round the back, but we can't. Not without deleting things. But I quite like that mixed bit. But then you've got a proper shopping hub here, and then you've got the row behind it of, I suppose, let's have a zoom in. Look at this. People walking around, driving around. Ah. That's kind of believable, isn't it? Very nice. And we've now got traffic coming into our university, mostly because everybody wants to go, well, they're all going off left. I mean, it is what it is. And you see what we're getting here, people. People thinking it's acceptable to go around and park places they're not supposed to park. Idiots. I do wish there's a way to like pre-select, you know, the trees and things like that. So we've got traffic mayhem, or what will be traffic mayhem, because we've got lots of people now wanting to... those ones are a bit too big, I think. A little bit too big. Sorry. Let's... You got to grow in smaller, darling. We want small high-rise buildings so that it kind of looks graded, and then we can always do bigger later on. But I like that. I've made an annoying curve so things aren't quite accurate anymore. Let's pop in our little path down the middle, as we have done. And because they're students, I'm kind of hoping that they won't really... They shouldn't be driving, to be honest. Why would you live in a city, you know, you don't need to drive in cities really, or it's not the most advantageous idea anyway. Let's pop some more in. There we go. And then again, we'll pop in some low rent. And let all that grow in. That's starting to look quite nice, isn't it? And then we'll make this bit a bit of a park area. Now we've got some issues because everybody wants to park in this car park. I knew there was going to be some parking issues happening because we've got all this density. In fact, we need to zone this area. Let's zone it out. So this is going to be our university district. And we will call it what we call Carnopia University. And we're going to encourage we could use energy consumption, make them all aware of what's going on, maybe. Oh, that's starting to look nice. I like how it's kind of building up in the distance. And then we can do something about the terrain here. Let's level that out. So the other thing that we've got is, I said I wanted to do some kind of pathway. Whether or not we move where those are actually, let's just have a little look. They can go on the hill. You know, actually on the hill, because you would expect that. Oh, it's going to do that crazy terrain thing, isn't it? Yeah. Right, first of all, my nemesis. Let's make an area. There we go. Now you can sit there. Your brother can sit next to him. And then the little ruin right at the top. And now we soften you all. Yay. There we go. Oh, bollocks. My bad. Sorry, guys. Soften you out, she says. I went too far. Typical me. Right. A completely believable castle's on the hill. So, let's put a path now. And I quite like the idea of, like... We've now got our castle on the city. Castle on the hill, sorry. Castle on the hill looking over at the university, farm fields, water, and a little bit of a built-up area in the town in the distance. Now, traffic is an issue here. Let's upgrade that to a roundabout. Now, I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode. My next plan for next time is to... in our next video, we're going to tackle traffic because traffic's going to be an issue. But what I want to do is do medium density all along here, like building up towards this bit, because I want to almost merge the farmland into the city now. Because at the moment we've got a lot of low density. We want to use that low and medium density and build up towards where the university district is. And as we bring in more income, we can then start to look at the other university tools and utensils. But look at this, I think it looks fantastic. We've got our sports complex into a bit of a mini like city area for our university, which will get more dense as we go through. We've got our student hub, so we've got a shopping centre and then some housing for our students. And then we've got our beginning of our university, which is right at the beginning. We've already got 300 people attending our university. And then we've got our lovely little castle on the hill that looks down over our rest of our city. The rest of the city in this episode has been somewhat neglected, but I think it's a good place to start. You can see some houses have, we've run out of, I suppose, need or demand because everyone now wants to move to where the university is. So yeah, that's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and let me know in the comments below if there's anything in particular you want to see or you've got any ideas with our university to make it look very realistic. So yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!